This is the solution video for numbers 1 through 9 on the Chapter 8 test review. So if you look at the four things you ask yourself when factoring, number 1, is there a GCF? Number 2, is the leading coefficient 1? If so, use the double bubble method. 3 is leading coefficient not 1, then use the box method. And then number 4, difference of squares, then use a plus b, a minus b by taking the square roots of the two terms. So for number 1, factor completely, or actually for the rest of this page. So what we need to do is decide, is there a GCF? No. Is the leading coefficient 1? Yep, so we can go right to the double bubble. So x times x has to be x squared. Then what multiplies to 15 and adds to 8? That's going to be positive 5 and positive 3. Number 2, is there GCF? Yes, it's going to be 6, m to the second, n to the second. So you can only take away the smaller of the two exponents. So let's see what we have left. To get from 6 to 6, we don't need a coefficient, but to get from n squared to m to the third, we need another m. Our GCF has n squared, so does our original, so we're done with that term, separated by a minus sign. 6 times what is 12? 2. I have an m squared in my GCF and an m squared in the original, so I don't need another m. However, I do need 2 more n's. And that's all I can do. Number 3, there's no GCF. The leading coefficient's 1, so we can go right to the double bubble. A times a, because that's the only thing that can get a squared. And then what multiplies to positive 9 and adds to positive 6, that's positive 3 and positive 3. Number 4, or you can write it as a plus 3 squared. Number 4, there is no GCF. The leading coefficient is not 1, it's 2, so we have to use the box method. First term in the top left, last term in the bottom right, multiply the two together to get the magic number. What multiplies to negative 16 and adds to positive 15? That's going to be 16 and negative 1. Go ahead and put those in. Factor out to the left and factor up to the top. Final answer, 2x minus 1 and x plus 8. Again, reminder that all of these are factoring only. We're not setting them equal to 0 because it doesn't say solve. Also, there's no equal sign, so we can't solve something that's not an equation to begin with. Looking at number 5, there's no GCF, and we have x squared by itself, so we can go right to the double bubble. What multiplies to negative 45 and adds to negative 4 is going to be negative 9 and positive 5. Number 6, there is no GCF. We only have 2 terms, so that means it must be difference of squares. The first term is a perfect square, and so is the second term, separated by a minus. So we can take the square root of the first term, square root of 9x squared is 3x. Take the square root of the second term, square root of 100y squared is 10y, separated by alternating signs. Number 7, we have y squared by itself, no GCF. We can go right to the double bubble. What multiplies to positive 14 but adds to negative 9? That's going to be negative 7 and negative 2. Number 8, step 1, is there a GCF? Yep, 3c. So to get back to the original, we need to multiply by another c. And then anytime your GCF is the same as an original term, you need a 1 as a placeholder, so put plus 1 in those parentheses. Then we're done. Number 9, step 1, there is a GCF, 2, 8, and 10. We can take out a 2, leaving us p squared plus 4p minus 5. Now this is one of those questions where you can factor further. Inside those parentheses, we have a trinomial. The leading coefficient's 1, so we can go right to the double bubble, bringing down that 2 that's been on the outside. So we got p and p, because that's the only thing that can multiply to p squared, but what multiplies to negative 5 and adds to positive 4? That's going to be positive 5 and negative 1. Now we're done. This was the solution video for numbers 1 through 9. Go ahead and check the rest of the playlist for the other solutions.